Welcome to Queernecks, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. Did you do that like summer thing where you got your sleep schedule all wrong?
Oh, yeah. I was going to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock with Shannon and sleeping literally until 10:30 every morning. Yeah, I was sleeping glorious amounts.
You know what? I watched an episode of Good Hang with Amy Poehler where she was talking to Dakota Johnson, who said that she sleeps like 13, 14 hours a night, day, whenever.
I only do that when I don't have classes and shit. You know what I mean? This was my one summer being paid like a teacher. I was getting paid all summer to do absolutely jack shit. I was technically working 2 jobs while I was sitting on my ass, so.
See, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I got an old man style health alert from my watch just earlier. I went for my walk and, you know, I've not been super healthy. I've had some things going on since around March or April. And back then do you have the smartwatch?
No, Shannon does.
They're fucking perverts. You remember back in the day when you would have the sniffles or something and you would get on WebMD and it would be like, well, you've either got seasonal allergies or some rare cancer.
Right.
A smartwatch with a health on it or something is like that, but you wear it and it will just jump out at you sometimes. And so it come up back in March or April and said like your cardiac health is below average or something. It won't tell you that you're unhealthy because it's not trying to diagnose you. And it stayed like that until 9 days ago when I took leave from work and I got back from my walk and it gave me an alert and it was like, you've got a new trend in your cardiac health. And my resting heart rate is back down to a healthy level.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. When the doctor tells you to rest, kids, do what they say.
Yeah. Shanna's learning that. She should have taken a few more days off of work after her fall. She fell at work and hit her head really bad and bruised her knee so badly. I think she chipped her kneecap. Like, it's hurting so much. Yeah, I cracked it or something because she's got a lot of pain around it. And
totally possible.
And when you get a bruise on your shin like that, the bruise will run down your leg. So she's got a whole purple leg where she only hit like around the knee and stuff, but it looks gruesome. And she had a concussion and now she's got soreness in her neck and shoulders. And I told her she might even have whiplash because.
I mean, it sounds like a fucked up fall.
Yeah.
That's scary.
She's got like a goose egg still on top of her head, big yellow bruise on her forehead. She should have just taken a few more days because her knee is really hurting. And she's at work right now.
Jesus. I mean, I'm so glad that she has found work that like, you know, fills her up and is meaningful and she's excited to do because for the longest time up there, that was outside her reach. Yeah. But like, dang, you got to rest.
Yeah, she's working like 50 hours a week right now.
Well, she's young.
She's your age.
Is she?
I feel very old. My birthday is on Monday and I feel very old.
You're not that much older than us.
Yeah, but it feels old.
No, I know what you mean. I've been feeling ancient lately.
The age of 47 is kind of mystical in my family because several family members have died at that age. And my mom was convinced that she was going to die at 47. She died at 69 and like 2 weeks before she turned 70. So she made it way past 47. But I'm turning 47 on Monday and it kind of scares me.
Well, and your mom was rocking a lifestyle that you don't.
Yeah.
There was some unhealthy habits in her life.
But she wasn't a diabetic and I am, and that's a big one.
Yeah. And there's no like accurate way to measure up what actually lends itself to longer life in the moment. Centuries later, they'll do some longitudinal study on what it actually took and hindsight will be what it takes. But now it's really not, I don't want to say unhealthy because I think people have all kinds of reasons for thinking this way, but maybe not the best use of our time all the time to try to be guessing how many years we've got left.
Yeah, my dad bought a new truck like a month before he died. He went with a lease on it, so he was planning on living a long life.
My Uncle Jerry did the exact same thing. His brother Jimmy had passed not long before this, and he had habits just like, you know, your mom had, and that kind of come for him. And he tried to sober up in the last there, and he did his chemotherapy and stuff. And his brother, my Uncle Jerry, was like, that's fucking stupid. If they told me that, I would just sit on the front porch and drink and smoke until I died, which is what he did. But he had just bought a truck too. And so that was something. And my mom still drives that truck and she named it Jerry.
Yeah. My dad's girlfriend at the time was living in my mom's house and she arranged for the truck to get returned. I don't know what went down with that. It took me 6 months to get her out of the house and get her out of the affairs until I was able to take stuff over.
Some people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, on the one hand, maybe she loved him and maybe that was real, but also just stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah, when I went in to see him in the hospital, after he'd had his stroke, I just wanted
Yeah.
to hold his hand and talk to him, and she wouldn't leave us alone in the room. And she was doing stuff like playing Christian music. He would have died listening to Christian. He was country music through and through. That's all he listened to. And he would have been so annoyed with the Christian rock that she was playing. He would have hated it. She didn't even know him well enough to know that. So how could she really love
Oh.
him?
I recently watched the 4th season of True Detective. I know you're not much of a TV person, but like now that I'm not blacking out every day and my brain is clearing a little bit, I've been watching movies and TV and stuff, and I loved it. Highly recommend. Like totally redeems seasons 2 and 3, which
Which
are
platform is it
terrible.
on?
It's on Max,
That's
whatever they call it
that's
these
the one
days.
I don't have.
Um,
I have
let's talk off the
okay.
air.
I have Paramount, I have Peacock, I have Netflix, I have Hulu. I don't have Max. That's the one I don't
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
I'm in a sort of a poly lifestyle with streaming services.
Understood. Understood.
But I've been going for a lot of walks too, and remembered. Well, first, so today we're recording on August 27th, listeners, and that is the day that my brother was killed.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm
17
so
years
sorry.
ago. This is why I wanted to record. I chose today because I'm always alone. It's because I have lived alone for the past 10 years since I left grad school, and it's always at the beginning of the semester, so I can't take time or anything. It always does kind of fuck me up mentally and emotionally as well. And this year it just happened to be a little bit of an extreme dollop of that already going on. So this is the first year in probably the 17 years since he died that I had been able to choose how to spend my day. So I've been watching some Star Trek, and I've also been trying to spend some more time outside, but it's starting to get dark here earlier. And I realized I had never gone for a walk in the dark yet since I got here. When I lived in Richmond and when I lived in Carbondale, I would always walk around really late at night. I would go home. I wouldn't even start walking until like 8. I would walk until 11 sometimes. I had just gotten sober. So I was like, what the fuck do I do with my time? And you'd see weird shit doing that. This one time I was walking around in Richmond and I had my earbuds in and I saw the corner of my eye, the flashing lights, the blue lights. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And I went to take my earbuds out and they pulled up, like they screeched up next to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went to take them out and she jumped out of the car and put her hand on her gun and said, put your hands where I can see them. And I was like, holy shit. And so I was like, I can't hear what you're saying though. If you want to communicate with me, these things have got to come out of my ears. And so she comes up and like pats me down and stuff. And then she lets me take the earbuds out and then she starts asking me really aggressively about why I'm out walking. And I'm just I'm an idiot and an asshole. And that's a bad combo. I wouldn't have done this if I had known what she suspected me of.
You were neither of those things,
she
by
goes,
the way.
well, when presented with authority, sometimes I turn into my mother. Let's put it that way.
Understood.
So, and then by this point, two more cars have come up and they boxed me in, and these guys are getting out and flanking me. And I was like, something is very wrong. I started to get sweaty and shaky, and she goes like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm walking. And she goes, do you always go out walking late at night? And I was like, you make it sound really bad. And she was like, which direction did you come from? And so I pointed down whereby I lived. I had just walked out of my house. And she was like, have you seen anything strange? And I was like, now that you mention it, a really, let's say, animated looking fella walked past me. He was blasting music really loud from a speaker strapped on his back, and he looked like Encino Man. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, many
Like
times.
when Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
wakes up, that's what he looked like, half dressed. He had it looked like all of his clothes anyway on his back. He looked like he was leaving somewhere. She was like, okay, which way did he go? And I was like, he went down that way. And the two cops were with her peel off. And she was like, I feel like I should explain what just happened. I was like, please fucking do. And she said, someone called in a shooting and gave us your physical description. Apparently I had walked right past it and had my earbuds in and didn't know. Fucking shooting.
Good Lord. This is why you don't wear your earbuds at night.
And I know that now. So I guess somebody saw it and I'm walking away all calm and collected, and they reported me as the shooter. But thank God she was paying attention, because them other guys, they were on alert because they thought that I was armed and dangerous, and I was acting weird because they were acting weird, and it made me weirder.
You asked if I had seen Encino Man. I am very up to date on my Pauly Shore movies. I have seen Biodome many times.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
I've seen
Biodome.
Son-in-Law.
I love In the Army Now might be my favorite,
Right?
Pauly Shore movie, and I have no idea why. Maybe it was just I think for everyone, they experienced Pauly Shore at a moment in time.
Yeah.
And In the Army Now was mine.
Yeah.
Also, Lori Petty is in that movie, so smoking hot.
Yeah. She's in A League of Their Own, too.
She's in League of Their Own. She's in I think her career started with Point Break. Do you know the story of Lori Petty's
No.
career?
No.
Like, have you seen Point Break?
No. But I know it's a surfer movie with
It's
Patrick Swayze, right?
Yep, he plays a surfer in it, and Keanu Reeves plays an FBI agent, I think, or ATF. I don't remember what, but some agency, and he's infiltrating this surfer gang that they suspect are robbing banks. And Lori Petty plays Keanu's love interest, and they are so good together. They have such great chemistry. But Catherine Bigelow is the person who directed. I don't know if she wrote, and they were screen testing actresses to play this role, and everybody hated Lori Petty except for Catherine Bigelow. And she was like, I know, this is what I picture her saying anyway. She's like, I know it's the 90s and we're all like really into our misogyny and our Cindy Crawfords and stuff needing to be on screen, but this is what we call acting. This is what we call chemistry. And they're also the kind of odd pairing that you would see in real life, like two kind of unconventionally but still attractive people who find each other. Oh my God, there was a fucking remake of Point Break. Oh, please tell me this is not the inferior crisp. No, it's not. I don't know who these people are, actually. This might be an international film. Anyway, Point Break in 91 is the good one.
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow. Do you know who she was married to?
No.
Quentin fucking Tarantino.
No way.
The best thing Quentin Tarantino ever did for this world was give us Catherine Bigelow. It's not entirely true. He used to be able to churn out a good film.
I've never been able to sit through one all the way through, so I couldn't tell you.
You got to go way back to find one that I remember where he started to lose me was Inglourious Bastards. I actually sat through, it must have been 98% of that movie, and it got to what I think was the end scene. In a normal film, this would have been something like the denouement, and it was so drawn out. And this character is bloviating in a bar, and it's like you can hear Quentin Tarantino speaking through this character's dialogue. And I remember I was just like, oh my God, I can't fucking take this. So I never did finish the movie. There's probably 5 minutes of that movie left. And I was like, what? I can't do this. And why? Why am I doing this? This is an important cinema. I don't need Quentin Tarantino to explain to me that the Nazis were bad. Maybe some folks today could use a little refresher on
right?
that.
What's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Ooh, Battlefield Earth.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Do you know this movie?
I've not seen it. No, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
It's just Scientology propaganda. There's a lot of movies out there that are religious propaganda,
right?
Or whatever. You know, this one is the story of the weirdo alien thing that they have. Could have been actually a really fun story, but it was poorly made, and it was kind of I don't know how to describe it. Every single frame of the film is at a Dutch angle. Ryan Murphy is really fond of these in American Horror Story, especially the early seasons of American Horror Story, but I think he uses them fairly judiciously. It's where the screen is on a tilt like this, and it signifies something's askew, something's off, where there's danger afoot. And so every single frame of Battlefield Earth does this, but it flip-flops like this.
Ah.
I recommend watching this movie, but it is terrible. It's objectively terrible. And John Travolta plays this alien Xenu person. Eric and I watched this movie together. And have you ever laughed so hard you almost died?
Yes, but not at a movie.
Okay. It's only happened to me a couple times, and this is the only one I can actually pinpoint, but I laughed so hard that my lungs would no longer actually draw air. And my heart felt like it stopped. I had to roll out of the recliner and lie face down in the water. And I'm not the only one who's felt that way about it, because this clip is on YouTube. So go look it up. And listeners, go look up this clip. Just look up Battlefield Earth, Do You Want Lunch? And you will know exactly what I mean. It's a torture scene with John Travolta's character, the people who represent the Scientologists, human slaves or whatever. He's got one of them and he's trying to torture them. And he's threatening the guy with feeding him a dead rat of some kind, but it's on a Dutch angle. He's leaning over him in this like dentist chair, and the dude, he's in like S&M gear, and Travolta is overacting in this whole thing. It's just camp as all get out, and he holds up a rubber, really shitty looking alien rat, and he delivers a line. I can't do it. It's something like he goes, "Do you want lunch?" It's supposed to be scary. It's But we were not ready, and so we both and we laughed harder and harder at how hard the other one was laughing. I was actually scared I wasn't gonna survive that. Can you name yours? Like, your
Yes,
worst movie you've ever
Big John Malkovich.
That's such a strong opinion.
I was so angry when I got done watching that movie that I had wasted an hour and 45 minutes of my life watching that drivel that I am still pissed about it to this. It's been like 20 years since I watched that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm still pissed about it to this day. It was so bad.
That movie's a real moment in time. I still don't feel like I understand what was going on
Yeah.
in it, and I can't say that I enjoyed any of it. I will say that I appreciate its technique, its craft as a form of technical cinema. There's a lot of skill displayed in like its production, but the story, I don't know what it's trying to do.
It was stupid. It was very stupid. It makes me mad. It was so stupid. I don't like John Malkovich anymore because of that movie. Like I have an internal bias against him.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. A bad enough experience can sour you on an actor.
Like Alan Cummings, I don't
I-
like him because of the movie Circle of Friends, which is probably one of his very first movies. He plays a rapey kind
don't
of
know that
creep.
one.
Minnie Driver and Chris, the guy that played Robin.
Chris O'Connell.
Yes, they're
O'Donnell. I remember a movie that the first time I experienced a movie that I couldn't handle. I'm a very sensitive boy. I cry at movies, and I always have. For a while there, we rented movies a lot, all the time. They rented a movie, Dead Man Walking, with Susan Sarandon, and Sean Penn is in this movie. And I had to leave in the opening maybe 10 minutes. It was too intense and sad, and I was crying so hard I couldn't see, and I was trying to hide it. I've always been really embarrassed about the fact that I cry at movies too, and so I was sitting back in the kitchen part of the trailer watching over the couch trying to hide the fact that I was crying, and finally I was like, I can't fucking do this, I have to leave. And I have hated Sean Penn ever since. haven't enjoyed watching him or watched him in anything on purpose since then.
It's so funny how your mind will do that.
Yeah, they're like minds. They got no business being as powerful as they are because they are just stupid sometimes.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, let's give this wheel, what have you, a spin and see. Oh no, it landed on an inebriation.
Inebriation.
Lord, isn't this appropriate to the day David died? That started, I'm not going to say early. There are people who had started their journeys with substances way earlier than we did. We started in our early teens, but looking back, it's still a red flag. I think our generation was kind of like that with substances though. Like we were down to get up to stuff.
Yeah. I know there were people smoking weed as early as 8th grade in my class.
Yeah, there was a dude in my 8th grade class. He was in my grade. He would open his social studies book and there would be a half-smoked joint in there, and it would just smell. The whole class would smell up like resin when he opened it up.
Wow.
He would deal out of the bathroom. I think he's a fucking cop now.
Of course.
I was thinking about that recently too. Like all people who all became cops that I went to school with were the shitty kids. They were the kids that were, and they still are shitty because they keep getting caught. This makes the papers and everything. They're selling drugs and they're pimping girls out.
Yeah. The guys that became cops from my school ended up becoming prison guards, which is its own unique kind of cop, you know.
Yeah.
I think you have to be a very special person to be a prison guard. Like one guy, he got a bunch of guys in trouble when we were in high school because they pissed in his water bottle in gym class and he took a drink of it. And like 5 people got suspended over that. And now he's a prison guard.
David got suspended. I don't even remember why, but they made a website as which, thinking back, that's actually pretty impressive. This would have been 94. He and a friend made a website that was just kind of making fun of the other kids in school. It would make lists of like, suck up, or I don't know. They were more offensive ones. I'm sure there was something about like sluts or something on it, like just categorizing or making fun of kids. And it was a satire. It actually grew into a newspaper, a full on, they would print it out and put it in the lockers of the kids at school. And this is what got them caught. So thinking back, I'm like, that was actually really creative and demonstrating some pretty specific skills for kids who weren't taught that kind of thing. But yeah, they were suspended. Well, he got suspended for it. His friend did not get suspended for it. His friend was in the 13-year club. They never got in trouble, the 13-year club kids.
What does that mean?
This was a pre-K through 12 school. We transferred into it, so we were
I
outsiders. We
see.
were
I was an outsider as well.
weirdos.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, I wasn't I mean, they weren't nice to us, but they don't know what I was dealing with at Jellicoe. They were like fluffy, soft little kittens when they would try to be mean to me, and they would call me stuff that actually was kinda badass, right? They would call me like a devil worshiper or a demon, and I was like, "That's I don't mind that at all." They were not very good at being those things. They were no boy titties,
Yeah,
right?
right?
And I was like, Y'all need to study at the feet of the folks I just moved here from." It wasn't even worth writing angsty poetry about. I just went on with my life. But if you ever got into something with a popular kid, you were in serious shit. You were going to take all of the, or with, I say popular, there were 13-year club people that were not popular. And I'm sure that they weren't immune as well. But there was this like core cohort of 13-year kids, like their last names were on certain buildings and shit.
Yeah.
So we got partying with them, and we would always go to the places to their houses because they kind of knew this too. And they knew that they were above the law. And their parents, they always owned cabins and stuff out in the mountains or in the hollers. And so that's where the parties would be. And we knew that we were untouchable there.
Yeah, I did get invited to the cool kid stuff.
I technically was invited because my brother became a cool kid. He was so goddamn charismatic and gregarious that he became one of the princes of that fucking school very shortly after we moved there or after we transferred there. And he stayed a popular kid. And I think being a popular kid was one of the things that fucked him up because he wasn't any different than me. None of us had the skills to be popular. None of us had the skills to have friends. And so he transfers somewhere and he happens to be 6'3" in the 8th grade and gorgeous, and he becomes a god. They fucking worshipped him.
My brother and sister both dropped out of high school, and I was the only one that, like, my sister was smart and got good grades, but she didn't care and ended up dropping out to get married. And she ended up going to college and got a 2-year degree. But I was the only one that finished school. I was the only one that cared about my grades. I got kicked out of National Honor Society. I'm still more proud of that than getting into it. It took a lot more effort to get kicked out than it did to get included.
You know, I'm thinking about like the first time I got drunk or the first time I smoked pot or something like that. And in high school, I was a very good kid. I did not really get up to shit in high school. Only once or twice did I do something. I mean, I was using substances. I was doing that, but I was so careful. It like barely counted. And a lot of times I would do it just so that I could keep an eye on David. But I remember specifically like really hating the sensation.
Wow.
Especially of weed.
Yeah.
But I think the first time it might have been like oregano or pocket lint or something.
Right.
Because it made me super sick. I was at a basketball game with my parents and I was just in the bathroom the whole
I was also I was at a basketball game and we left.
Why did the shit always go down at the basketball game?
Well, so there was a dance after the basketball game. So we snuck out in the fourth quarter and went over to the high school baseball field and we smoked a joint and then we came back for the dance.
Yeah. There was always a dance after the football games and the basketball games. Like, honestly, teachers doing the Lord's work because they were the chaperone. They just poured their hearts into giving us experiences.
My high school now has an AstroTurf football field for the team. So, yeah.
Wow. I don't know anything about what my high school's up to. Once in a while, I'll look people up on Facebook or something that I went to high school with. I don't know why. I haven't done it in a long time. But I know that there was a period in time there where the substances got kind of bad at my high school. Kids were drinking at school. A lot of them were. There was one kid who would wake up and drink a fifth of vodka before coming to school.
That's what my brother got kicked out of school for. Yeah. Being drunk at school.
I drank peach schnapps at school one day, and we got in pretty serious trouble for it.
My brother would go out to his car at lunch and drink a case of hot beer and go back into class.
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh.
It was never, he always did everything to extremes. Like he would make baked spaghetti and put a whole pound of cheese on top of it. Or he would order pizza and get double crust, double sauce, double cheese, double pepperoni. Like everything the boy did, he did to excess.
That's that, like, because my brother was the same way. And, you know, they say that Hunter S. Thompson was like that.
Yeah.
He would go into a restaurant and order everything on the menu.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't eat it. He didn't eat it all. It all went to waste. He was performing decadence in a way. And I remember David worshipped Hunter S. Thompson. He actually, one of the things I got back from Iraq in his stuff was a collection of Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, which is him following George McGovern on the 72 campaign trail. Like that the 72 election, David really idolized Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know. Do you think rich kids fetishize decadence the way poor kids do?
I don't think so, because
Yeah.
it's nothing to them to go spend $15 every day at Starbucks, or have the $40 Stanley tumbler. It's nothing
Yeah.
to drop money on name brands and things like that. My lecture today was about cultural hegemony, and this is just right in there with that, right? The idea that there's in groups and out groups. It's funny that this would come up. But yeah, I think rich kids have a lot more, because money is the source of a lot of that, of the being in the in group and the out group, especially in American
Yeah.
culture, because you have to wear certain brands and you have to have a certain phone and you have to drive a certain car and have the right laptop and, all of those
Yeah.
things.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the decadence thing, Thompson was performing a thing that he wasn't necessarily actually. He was selling something he wasn't buying. He would order every drink on the menu, but only drink a few of them. The kids who idolized that didn't know that. They were actually imbibing everything. And I watched people do this, like, just, I'm going to get all the cocaine in the world and do it all tonight because that's something Patrick Bateman would do. It's like, there's something wrong with who you're idolizing, and there's something wrong with how you're choosing to perform that. There were times when inebriation was not evil, though. I think that people with experiences like ours are always tempted to come down on the side of, like, inebriation is bad, or these experiences are destined to go a certain way.
But then I think of my wife who did ketamine therapy. You know what I mean? She did it in a
Mhm.
controlled, she did it every week for 2 years. This is how long that her trial lasted. And it really changed her from a person that cried every single day to a person that was happy and relaxed. And she still has anxiety and things like that, but it's not anything like it used to be.
Yeah, she was going through it there for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I'm glad that helped her.
Yeah. And so there's so many good things but we have such a fear and such a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
We have a toxic relationship
That's
with
exactly right.
substance,
Yeah, because it can do so much good, but it can do so much damage.
and those are social issues.
Addiction is really rife when it comes to people in poverty because they have nothing to lose.
And because I remember working as a server in high school, and I was a closer, and I would have to get home at 11 p.m. and then get up at 5. And when you're 16, you can do that for a while. But I was tired. And at the Pizza Hut I worked at, the other servers, they were taking, was it Ativan?
Probably. Ativan calms you down,
No,
makes you
no. Well, yes, but it was like the weight loss version. So it was like, it was basically
Adipex.
Adipex, right? Yeah. They were taking that stuff and they were like, yeah, it keeps me awake. And so I did do that some, but again, it made me so sick. I didn't do it again because I was kind of like experiencing, not to make light of something that kills people, but I have overdosed several times. And there have been times when it did involve taking a substance for the first time because I didn't know how much to take. Happened the first time I took Xanax too. Oh my God. People are going to listen to this.
Hey, we've lived lives, you know what I mean?
We,
I tried
I'm a
Adipex.
law-abiding
I
citizen.
tried Adipex because when I was 16, my mom sent me to a doctor that turned out to be a pill mill doctor, and
I've been there.
they put me on Adipex, a Fen-Phen. They put me on Fen-Phen
Oh
so that I
my
would lose
God.
weight. And so here I was, 16, popping speed. I cleaned my mom's trailer from top to bottom. I literally took a toothbrush to the sink. Like, I
Oh
remember,
my
yeah, I
God.
had so much energy. It was wild. I lost weight for sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
But at a formative age, like
Yeah.
at an age where your brain's not done cooking yet, that can
That
permanently.
could have really fucked me up, but luckily I was not taken in by it.
So, and I think I've mentioned my nonverbal period. And my parents, they tried to get help, but they wound up, they didn't have the kind of insurance that could really afford mental health care. So they found this dude up in Lexington who has since been, he's no longer allowed to practice. He was,
Oh, wow.
and he had, so it was really weird. He talked to me for 15 minutes and he diagnosed me with schizophrenia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I do not have.
Yeah.
Nothing I said, because I've gone back and forth. I was like, what did I say that could have given him that impression? And so my parents didn't know any better at the time. They caught on pretty quick because they were paying attention and they listened to me, and they were not idiots. They just didn't know what he was saying at first. And he put me on risperidol, which is an antipsychotic. If you take an antipsychotic and you are not psychotic, it made me psychotic. I was nuttier than squirrel shit for the whole time I was taking that medication. It was terrifying. And I remember like talking to my mom about it afterwards. I was like, I don't think this is right. Something's wrong. This needs to stop. And she was like, just stop fucking taking it. She didn't even call him, which I don't think you should do. I don't recommend just stopping a psychiatric medication. Definitely work with your doctor, but she was like, no, fuck him. I can still remember the things I saw and heard on that shit.
That's wild.
Not a kind of inebriation I would recommend to anybody.
What was the first time you got drunk?
I guess there's a lot of different shades of drunk, but the first time I did get inebriated on alcohol, I think I was probably in the 8th or 9th grade. It was easy to get alcohol for us because it was bootleggers, and so bootleggers don't card. It was a dry county, and I got a 40 ounce of malt liquor. It was blue. I don't remember what the stuff was, but it was like some Hawaiian coconut flavored shit. And I kept that for, it was like weeks, and I would like pour out into the cap and drink it that way. And it was like a long time before I even had enough for it to actually affect me. But one day I did, and it scared me because I stood up and I was dizzy, and I was like, oh God, I'm drunk. And I immediately felt so guilty. I felt like this is during my religious period. I felt like I was going to hell immediately.
Well, because they tell you that you are.
Yeah.
You do any kind of sins. They tell you some really fucked up shit when it comes to all that. That if you would sin, you're going to go be baptized in a lake of fire. And that's really crazy to tell little kids.
You know, I didn't get that far into actual organized religion. By the time I started to get because it was just OCD, I had created my own vision of what was going to happen to me if I sinned. It departed from Christianity a long time ago because I wasn't actually attending church. But I had an obsession with, I guess, karmic punishment or something because I felt bad. I felt like I was doing evil all the time. I was sinning because I knew I was not a girl and I knew something was wrong. And so I had to invent a kind of hell. But I don't know what they actually told people. It all sounds so metal. They'll be trying to scare you and they're like, it's a lake of fire. And I'm like, oh, badass.
Radical, dude.
Oh man.
We's in the jit.
What were the I don't know what you would call those. Did people say like cowabunga and shit when you were in school?
Oh yeah. I found when I was cleaning out Mom's house, I found the most random stuff. And I found an autograph book that it had questions in it. In the autographs, I made my grandmother sign in to my birthday party when I was 12, which that was, the good adjunct in me being early trained. But there was one of the questions that asked me what was my favorite song at the time. You'll never guess.
What was it?
Doing the Bartman.
Oh, see, that's one of those media that passed me by because I wasn't allowed to watch.
It was the Bart Simpson song, Doing the Bartman.
I think I have heard it since then, but yeah, there's a lot of blind spots in my pop culture knowledge that I'm trying to fill in as I get older.
Yeah.
Well, man, we have been talking. Maybe it's time to hear from our sponsor.
Let's do it.
Today's sponsor is the public library.
Nice.
Sure, most everywhere has public libraries, for now at least, but not every region's libraries have the punk rock origins of Appalachians. The bookwomen riding horses through mud, snow, and mountains just to deliver stories to families who might never have seen a book otherwise. They brought possibility and wonder in their satchels. But they're a noun for another segment someday. Today's public libraries carry on that same spirit. The horses may be mostly gone, but the mission's the same, bringing knowledge, joy, and community straight to the people. And honey, it's not just dusty books anymore. They've got free Wi-Fi, streaming services, job search help, 3D printers, language learning apps, genealogy resources, tax help, drag queen story hours, and life-saving air conditioning in the dead of August. You'll see neighbors swapping recipes in the cookbook aisle, queer kids finding stories that finally sound like them, and somebody's papa printing off directions just because he refuses to get a smartphone. But a library is just a building full of minutia without the dedicated service of the librarian. If libraries are water and you're the horse, then libraries are the magic. I've lost track of this metaphor. Just know that librarians are modern day saints. They'll help you print a resume, track down your Meemaw's family records, find the perfect queer romance novel, or gently shush that one guy who's been asleep in the armchair since 2005. They're walking encyclopedias, tech support, community organizers, and therapists rolled into one, and they'll do it all with love and a smile, and usually for a salary more suited to Piggly Wiggly Bagger than Safeguard of Civilization. And all of this is FREE free, like free hot dogs at the car dealership, but with so much more dignity. So whether you need to escape the heat, print out divorce papers, or just remember that you're part of something bigger than yourself, get yourself to the public library, proudly sponsoring Queernecks.
I love the library.
Love
That's the
it.
best part of being in academia is the access to the library.
And it's totally not weird to just hang out in the
Oh,
library all the damn
yeah.
time.
It's my favorite place. Like, I could gush about the library forever. The local library in Bowling Green, they have a library of things, and you can get a Wi-Fi hotspot. You can get giant lawn games, like giant checkers for your lawn. You can get cake pan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
In Carbondale, there was one, that had you could check out tools.
Yeah.
Here, they're doing a cool thing now where you can check out a parking permit for the national parks. The way that they sort of offset the cost of the parks here in Minnesota is pay for a parking pass to park for the day. It's like $7. But people are not doing that because sometimes $7 feels like $7 fucking dollars. Like this, I could get a Big Mac for this.
Right.
So the public library has some on retainer. They'll buy a yearly one and you can just check them out like
That's
a book.
awesome.
I think of public libraries as constantly trying to come up with ways to bring not just essential resources, the things that a free society should have access to.
Right.
And just what an incredible service and bunch of people.
During COVID, my library was giving out COVID tests even.
Oh, hot
Yeah.
damn.
Like, they just had a stack of them on the wall, and you could go in and pick one up if you needed a COVID test. Amazing. My gay little heart loves the library.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of books, we mentioned Demon Copperhead, and somebody on YouTube said that they wanted us to talk about it. And we chatted that both of us had not read it since it came out. We would have to reread it, but wouldn't it be funny if we did like a book club, like a Queernecks book club?
That would be fun.
And that could be our first book. Because I would like to read it again. And I especially want to pay attention to the response you having to the ending.
Yeah.
And I also want to know if you experience it that way again.
Right.
If you have a strong reaction to a piece of media, it's worth revisiting, unless it's
Being John Malkovich.
well, and unless it is a triggering media, do not do that to yourself just because Queernecks said I need to challenge myself.
Right.
Protect your peace. It is sad to think that public knowledge is so.
If libraries were to be introduced to society now, they would never fly. That would be a communist plot and socialism and everything else. They wouldn't be allowed to exist if they were to come out today.
I'm watching the rhetoric so closely and looking for the hints, the gestures to what it's going to spread out to next, because one day it will be libraries. It'll be public libraries.
Right.
Because it's been the parks, it's been the healthcare, the doctors, it's been the universities and schools.
It's crazy to watch. But they're not really thinking when they start burning books, and every one of those books are available by PDF download.
Toss my Kindle
Yeah.
on the fire. Oh no. What am I gonna
Not
do?
a book. Oh.
I mean, I have a ton of them because I have been collecting, but it wouldn't be weird at all for somebody to be a reader but not own hardly any actual paperbacks.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
Paper books. So how are they going to burn a book?
Right.
I was reading an analysis of fascism lately, and they were pointing out, or it was earlier today, they pointed out that there is no model for this because a post-internet, post-scarcity, post-nuclear power, fascist whatever, all those things, we haven't seen them before. We're going to be the first. Kind of like with us, what we started out talking about, like trying to guess how long we're going to live. It's very, very good practice to learn from the past and to study the past and to look for how things came about. But it can be more of a descriptive than a prescriptive, because we could get bogged down into looking for things that might not ever actually materialize and miss the thing that does happen. So we need to stay in the present as well.
Right.
Even if the present is horrifying. Did you bring a noun of Appalachian interest?
I did. This is a good one. I always think they're a good one, right?
Well, they all are.
All right. Well, welcome back, y'all, to another round of Nouns of Appalachian Interest, the part of Queernecks where we shine a porch light on the people, places, and things that make Appalachia, well, Appalachia. Now, today's noun isn't just a noun. It's a marriage, a covenant, a domestic partnership blessed by pork fat and Jesus. That's right. We're talking about soup, beans, and cornbread.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's get this straight. We're not talking about just any beans. I repeat, do not walk in here with your black beans, your garbanzos, or God forbid, chickpeas. Soup beans are pinto beans, slow cooked with a ham hock until they're so tender they can qualify for disability. They are the backbone of Appalachian food pyramid, which, if you're wondering, is just a triangle drawn in bacon grease with cast iron written on all three sides. A cornbread is the biscuit's hotter, slightly trashy cousin, the one who shows up at the church potluck with a plunging neckline, a jar of hot honey, and zero shame. Cornbread is here to soak up the soup beans and the family gossip. Soup beans and cornbread are more than food, they're identity on a plate. They're what you ate when money was tight, when the weather got mean, or when company showed up uninvited and you had to stretch dinner with a prayer and some pig knuckle. And let's review the etiquette. First, you sop, you do not scoop. Number 2, you eat with a fork or your fingers, spoons are for Yankees. And third, if somebody offers you a white onion or to go with it, you say yes. If you say no, you're dead to me. So here's to soup beans and cornbread. Simple, soulful, and guaranteed to stick to your ribs longer than your last situationship.
One of the all-time great meals. We ate that. It was probably 2 meals a week growing up.
Did you ever have it with kielbasa?
We did have it with like links or sausage of various kinds, but I don't know if it was like Polish sausage or what kind it was.
That was whatever we had soup beans and cornbread. We'd always make kielbasa and sauerkraut with it.
My mom would name things different things, either if she thought we wouldn't be able to wrap our heads around what it was, or if it sounded gross, she would call it something else. So she would feed us salmon and call it chicken. And we knew it wasn't chicken.
It was river chicken.
River chicken, yeah. And so she would make salmon patties, but she called them chicken croquettes. This here is tube chicken. Man, I mean, being a parent must be so weird. My sister's doing it right now, and I don't know how she does. Her kids are great, but I'm sure there's still days when it's like, why did I do this?
Yeah, I could never. All of my nieces and nephews are all grown now. The youngest one is 22 or 23, and the oldest one was born in 93, so she's 32 now. So they're all
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my oldest niece is 32. That's wild.
That's my youngest cousin is that age.
Yeah.
She was born when I was 13.
Yeah. I was 14 when Haley was born.
I was thinking about, well, today there was a tragedy at a school in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And, it's shameful, and we just hope everybody who made it through gets help and support, and just fucked up. You shouldn't have to live in shit like that. Just shout out to the kids going back to school. Shout out to the teachers whose lives are on hold for the next 9 to 10 months. Shout out to the parents freaking out. Shout out to the queer kids stuffing it back deep down, maybe to go back into the fray for another year. It'll be over soon, and you're going to be great.
I have trans kids in all 4 of my classes this semester, openly trans, and I think it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've never had one in all 4 classes before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I knew of.
When we were talking to Lee, I was thinking about this. Like, they don't seem scared to me. They're not hiding. Not entirely. Some of them are, and they have their reasons, and they should. If it's what keeps them safe, absolutely do what you have to do. I don't say this to like cast, shade on anybody who's not living their full truth yet. They're really just living. They're living their lives, and they're out here, and they're speaking their minds, they're saying their piece. And, I had one, when they did the drag show, they were walking up to do their performance, and they had a little piece of paper with them. And we had just gotten guidance from the system about the pretend clutching pearls at anti-Semitism anytime anybody criticized Israel.
Right.
And this kid had drawn a sign that said Free Palestine and worked it into their performance. They were hiding it from me because, I don't know, maybe they were afraid I was going to tell them not to do it because I hadn't really been here that long. That's punk rock. And so the kids who are able to be out and say what they feel is on their hearts to say, protect them at all costs.
Yeah. Though I did have one kid tell me this week that he doesn't use pronouns.
Excellent. There's always one. That train is never late.
Why do you take a women's studies class? Just to be a contrary asshole? Like, for real?
I don't use pronouns. All right.
I said, so what am I supposed to do? Call you by your first name all semester? And kind of shrugged his shoulders at me. And I said, that just means like they and he, right? And he was like, well, I guess you can use he. It's like, yes, the fuck you do use pronouns, you little moron. Oh. But I said it nicer than that. So.
Well, and he's already learned something from you that somebody has been filling him up with fucking stupidness, sending him out into the world to make him look like a fool. Like, just repeating the stuff you hear, you are going to look foolish.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I swear, I think some of these conservatives have humiliation kinks or something.
I'm sure he enjoyed today the second lecture, and I was talking about privilege and cultural hegemony. And I do the first couple of weeks are focusing on the feminist movement and the history of all that, but I do a foundational concepts lecture beforehand so
Mhm.
that we can have a common vocabulary about things like intersectionality and what institutions are. But they get a whole serving full of liberal bullshit. And I love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he'll drop.
I
I hope maybe he drops, or maybe he'll
I
stay
don't
and learn
know.
something.
I hope he sticks it out, and I hope that even if he doesn't leave a fully 180 changed man or whatever, the things that you said are still in there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that shit can percolate for years, but it'll come in handy one day.
Yeah. I hope so.
Because people don't change unless they have the tools to change.
Right. I try to make my space a very welcoming place. When I introduce myself, I say you can say she or her. You can use they if you want to. If it pisses a transphobe off, call me he. Whatever makes him, whatever makes you feel good. I said it doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. That
Well,
I identify as a problem if people try to fuck with my friends.
identify as a problem. I'm a friend until I'm a foe.
Don't make me go there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not
You
gonna
know,
end well for you.
and I have a friend who several times she has said to me, like, "Do people know what they're getting into when they cross you? Because you've got the meanest tongue." And I'll be nice, and I'll even mean, well or whatever, but when it's time to get to the point, I guess I have a way. And there have been times when folks I know have regretted stepping to me.
Good. They should regret it.
Not so much here. People, they're all, let's just say they don't have the courage of their convictions here.
Right.
They like to talk a lot out of earshot or let somebody else do the talking for them.
My boss told me this week that she's gonna push for me to get a third year. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, that would be
Keep
fantastic.
molding young minds.
I'd keep the salary is what I'm really excited about.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us for another week.
While we rambled along.
Yeah, as we do. Again, shout out to those embarking on the school year again, and keep doing the things. Thank you to everyone who has engaged with us on social media. It's been real fun and left us nice reviews.
We got our first shout out and hashtag this week.
Yeah, that was
That was
fun.
very fun.
Friend of the show, Brian. And yeah, we love to see you out there in the real world. Yeehaw, fuck the law. Say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.